When I first kicked this thing on, I ran right into a fence post with it spinning. Well, hey there, hobby homesteaders. Welcome back to Peak's Peak. My name's Lucas. We're sharing our hobbies on 38 acres in eastern Kentucky. And do any of you recognize this? This is our 2019 Kubota BX. We've had this for well over 5 years now, about 800 hours. We have used it for everything establishing our farm. And today, we're gonna use it to ted and rake this hay. Now, I wanna talk a little bit about knowing when the hay is ready. And I'm far from an expert. This is actually the very first time I've done my own hay. I grew up on a farm, my dad put up hay, so I've kind of been around it and I kind of know what to look for in general. So I'm gonna share what I do know, and I'm gonna ask all of you in the comments to chime in and help us out with how you tell whether your hay is dry enough, whether it needs more drying time, whether you should ted the hay before you rake it, all of those things that you know. Drop your knowledge down in the comments. So here's what I have found. If I walk out here into this hay field and I grab a handful of this hay, you can hear it. And it's pretty crunchy hay. This handful right here is dry and would be okay to bale. Might need just a little bit longer, but it's crispy and crunchy and you can kind of hear it. But if we walk over here and we find a spot that's kind of thick, and I'll tell you, I just cut this hay yesterday. Turn this over, you've got hay underneath here, and it sounds different. It sounds, well, just a little crisper, not crunchier. It's still wet, and you can see the green still in it. Now, here's what I've run into. We basically had 3 days of sunshine before we're gonna get another day of rain. Now I think the rain's gonna come in the afternoon on Thursday, but I'm really gonna be pushing it to try to get this done. So what I wanna do is try to speed that up. I came out here and I checked on this and I found that underneath what the sun is not hitting is still staying pretty wet. We have the Mech rake, which is also a tedder. It's a combination tedder rake. And I can flip this hay over and try to get some more sunlight to it so that hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to rake this hay and bale it. I'm pushing it, but what I'm also going to do is I'll judge the moisture content as we bale this hay, and we have a wrapper. So if we bale this hay and it seems pretty wet, then we're gonna wrap those bales. That way they're still safe. When you wrap them up, it keeps the oxygen out of it. And so you don't have those same dangers of the barn fires and all, from what I understand. You can get by with baling the hay a little bit more wet if you're going to wrap it. Now, I don't wanna wrap all of this hay, so I'm really hoping we can get this hay dried out. So I'm gonna spend the next couple of hours running around this field here with the little Kubota BX, and I'm gonna ted this whole field here. We'll flip it all over and I'll show you how this piece of equipment works. Now I noticed when I got up here, I got a little squeaking going on, and there are grease fittings underneath each one of these rake tines. And as they go around, they raise up and drop down, raise up and drop down. So I think that's what's squeaking, and I'm going to, after we do today's tedding, I'll grease it up again before we rake tomorrow, but I think it'll be fine to get through what we have to get through today. That's enough chit chat. Let's get to work. So the BX gets parked under the lean-to now, and guess what lives in the lean-to? Lots of birds. So you all thought you complained about my tractor being dirty before. The old BX stays dirty now. guys, well, the old BX did not disappoint. We turned it loose with this tedder and it did a fantastic job. In fact, I'm kind of shocked because I expected it to take me longer to do this whole field using the smaller tractor and, you know, not being able to maybe move as fast as the big tractor when I was cutting. I figured that tedding this would take me a little bit longer, but I actually got done quicker. I was able to ted this whole field in about 2 hours, so wasn't bad at all. When we started out, we were squeaking quite a bit, and I had greased everything, but had Caden run the grease gun up to me, and I greased everything a bunch more. I mean, I just pumped the grease to it everywhere we go. When we took off, it was still squeaking, but after a few minutes, it quieted down and did what it was supposed to. I don't know what tedding a field is really supposed to look like when it's done, if it's supposed to be evenly spread out all over everything. And I'm not really. I feel like it almost made me some rows here, but what it did is this field was starting to get brown on top where it looked like it was dry hay, but then we turned it all over and now it's all green again. I think that's what I want to see, because now I've got a solid 2.5 hours worth of sunlight left to beat on this field this afternoon. And then tomorrow, it'll get just a little bit more before we rake it up and start baling it. So I think we'll make it. All right, guys, well, I came out here to check. I was hoping I was gonna go ahead and rake and get ready to bale this hay. But, you know, we just tedded it yesterday afternoon, and it's the next morning, about 11 o'clock, dew's burned off, but man, you flip this over and it's still a little crisp down inside. It's better, but you get down in there, you can see some good wet. It's just not quite ready yet. So I guess I'm gonna wait. I mean, I'll give it until late this afternoon. I don't know if I can maybe rake. You know, I've got church this evening, but maybe if I started about 2 or 3, it'll have dried out enough. I don't want to push it. I can take tomorrow off, and I don't think we're going to get rain. Yeah, see, there's still some real wet hay down in there. I don't think we're going to get rain until about 5 or 6 tomorrow afternoon. But the problem is I got to get it raked and baled and all picked up. It's going to be cloudy tomorrow, so the dew's going to take longer to burn off. I'm trying not to mess this up. This is my first time, and the window is small. This is tough. All right, guys, well, I checked this field at about 11 o'clock this morning, and the underside of the hay was just too wet. So I waited until about 2 o'clock, and I came up here and I checked it again, and I could still find spots that were a little bit wet. So I thought, well, I'll ted the field again. But I decided I wanted to test the rake and see how it was working before I started tedding. And as I was raking it, it was turning it over and putting what I wanted on top. And so I decided, man, let's just go for it. Let's rake it up and let the sun beat on this. And probably by 4 or 5 o'clock, about the time I get done raking, I think I'm gonna be able to go ahead and bale. It's looking pretty good, and this Max rake is doing a great job. If you'll notice, I don't have just perfectly clean windrows, but I gotta take the blame for that, because when I first kicked this thing on, I ran right into a fence post with it spinning. And there are little wheels or bearings on the bottom of these that make the rake tines go up and down as it turns. Well, I broke one of those wheels. That's my fault. So I have one rake tine that is just staying down. So what it's doing is it's flinging a little bit more grass out of the windrow and into the middle. I don't have time to get parts here before it rains tomorrow. So I just have to go with it, and I've got what I've got. But otherwise, I really feel like this rake is a great product. It's my fault. You can't run into the fence with it. I just didn't get my clearances right, and I broke it. So I'll have to get in touch with them and get a replacement for that. But overall, I'm pretty happy, and I'll take you out here. I mean, we're right in the middle of the field where this is some pretty thick hay, and this is about as wet as it gets. And if you listen, you can hear it. You know, it's pretty crunchy. I mean, I saw one spot down low down there where there was a little bit of wet in it, and I'll probably skip that with the baler when I get to it. Give it a little more time to dry, but this stuff, man, I think it's gonna be ready to go. If I had another day, I'd give it another day, but I think this is gonna do just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting this raked up, and then I'll show you the finished product. All right, guys, well, Max Tedder rake for the win. We got this field raked up, and we're gonna give it a couple more hours, and then we're gonna pull the baler up here. We're gonna get this baled up. Baling our first hay on Peak's Peak. I guess we can still call this Peak's Peak. I mean, there's the cabin right there. So, yeah, this is the neighbor's field, but still feels like home. Overall, I am really loving this Max hay package. The rake is a perfect fit for this Kubota BX. The BX is a champ, man. I filled this thing up with diesel fuel, ran for 2.5 hours tedding this field yesterday, and then ran for another, it only took me less than an hour to rake this field today, because I figured out that I can move a lot faster, and so I put it in high range, and I was bebopping. I got a little bit better product by moving faster with this rake. Now that may have to do with that broken tine on mine, but regardless, we were able to move and get this done. So next thing we're gonna do is figure out if that Kubota BX can bale some hay. So if you're not a subscriber, be sure and subscribe so you get the notification when that video comes out. We're gonna bale this field with miniature round bales, weigh 40 to 60 pounds. So they're about the size of square bales, and they come in that same round baler format, which is pretty cool. It's gonna be neat to watch that on this tractor, so stay tuned. Guys, till next time, man, get outside and enjoy God's creation because it's beautiful out here. Y'all have a good day.